Shang Chi first appeared in Special Marvel Edition number 15 in September 1973. After just 2 issues, the title was renamed to The Hands of Shang Chi, Master of Kung Fu. Shang Chi was created by Steve Englehart and Jim Starlin. Englehart is also known for co-creating Mantis, known as a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, while Starlin is credited with co-creating Thanos.
I am inevitable.
I have never felt such humor!
So unbelievably uncool.
Shang-Chi has had his own solo series on and off since his first appearance and would guest appear in several other comic books, including Spider-Man, Iron Fist, and many others. Within the Marvel Universe, many characters like Captain America and Black Panther have stated that Shang-Chi is likely one of the very best fighters in the world. Originally, Shang-Chi was strictly a martial artist without any actual powers, but throughout the years this has varied. In some instances, it is said that his ability to control his chi allows him to have increased strength, durability, and an increased healing factor. He has also had the ability to replicate himself, but this appears to be a forgotten or retconned ability and is not currently used. Shang-Chi, like many other heroes, gained Spider-Man's powers during the Spider Island event. During this event, Shang-Chi helped Spider-Man develop his own Way of the Spider martial arts to help Spider-Man deal with having lost his spider sense. More recently in the comic books, Shang-Chi has acquired the 10 Rings. These rings appear to have the same abilities as the versions seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, although their origin so far is very different. The 10 Rings were likely added to the comic to bring parity between the on-screen and comic book versions of Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is a member of the Avengers and was previously a member of the Agents of Atlas. The Agents of Atlas is a team of heroes that was restarted in 2019 during the War of the Realms story. This team is comprised of both new and existing Asian heroes. Shang-Chi left around a year after this team formed and would go on to once again star in his own titled comic. This is possibly an editorial decision for the purpose of helping to boost character interest, as the Marvel Cinematic Universe film for Shang-Chi would release only a year after this new solo comic. This is Marvel Legends Shang-Chi from Hasbro, based on his first appearance. First appearance does have a top portion like a martial arts gi, but his character is often seen without the gi as well. So this could still be considered a fairly accurate representation of the original design. This character is obviously a martial artist and has several different pairs of hands that come along with him. The default hands are the fists, and then he's got a couple of flat slapping hands. Then we have these 2 hands that are more of a, I guess, maybe like a tiger claw type of hand pose. And we've got another martial arts posing hands. And then we've got hands that are meant for holding and gripping. And these specifically would be holding or gripping the nunchucks that come with Shang-Chi. With this mold, I believe that this portion is new. I don't think Hasbro used it in any characters or releases prior to Shang-Chi. Otherwise, in terms of articulation, it's fairly standard. Hasbro, Ab Crunch, Butterfly appear, which actually isn't common for every character. Usually, it's more for the slender characters. But you've got Bicep Swivel, You've got the elbow. Of course, with this one, it's 2 joints. A lot of female characters are just one jointed, unfortunately. You got wrist swivel. The head is on a ball joint, but can go up and down fairly easily. Thigh, of course, and then thigh swivel, knee, double jointed knee, and then an ankle pivot. So a fair amount of articulation for this figure, which again I would say makes a lot of sense considering he is a martial artist. The head sculpt I think is fairly well done. I'd say a pretty fair representation of the original design, that kind of 70s mullet kind of hairstyle. Very reminiscent of early Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, which is obviously the inspiration for the original character. And comparing him to the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of Shang Chi, as played by Simu Liu, this one is obviously a very, very accurate version to what we saw on screen. Hasbro, several years ago, has started using actual scans of actors' faces when creating their head sculpts. And I think this one is very, very accurate to Simu Liu's face. The costume is obviously not designed based on Shang-Chi's first design. This one is much closer to the modern version of Shang-Chi's costume. And that one is more of a bodysuit. It is red and black, similar to this one, so it does look like this one takes a lot of inspiration from that, with a lot of modification, of course. What's interesting about this figure, though, is that this is definitely the first figure with this style of legs or pants. In the film, he is wearing basically black jeans, and this is replicated fairly well. This is also pinless, which means that you don't see the pins like you do here. And so more and more of Marvel's figures, or sorry, Marvel Legends, Hasbro's figures are going with this pinless design. Looks nicer, you know. You don't see the pins. And I mean, obviously you're seeing him here, but I'm sure eventually they will move towards a design where everything is pinless. He's definitely also one of the very, very few cinematic universe characters that's just wearing tennis shoes. I don't believe this is the first time any Marvel Legends characters had tennis shoes. I believe that might go to the retro Peter Parker. This Shang-Chi came with a staff that he uses in film. It's not his main weapon, but it is something that he uses. He doesn't actually come with fists, which I think is a little strange considering that he is a martial artist, so he is punching a lot, but he does have similar tiger claw type of hands. And then he's got these gripping hands for that staff. And then these other additional martial arts. Overall, I think a very strong representation of what we see on screen. I would say that what would be nice to see in future releases, assuming that the character of Shang-Chi does well, are the modern costume. There's a new costume that came out when they gave him his own comic about 2 years now. I think it's a pretty good modern update. And there's also a story where he gets a magic sword that allows him to become the god of thunder and blades, and that allows him to go toe-to-toe with Thor, which is a pretty cool comic. And I think that would make a very, very cool costume to see in figure form.